When my wife Lauren told me she had a 3-day business trip to Kansas City, I didn't think twice. She'd been traveling more for work lately, and though a small knot of unease lingered in my gut, I brushed it off. She moved through the packing process with unnerving calm, humming softly, checking her hair twice, selecting outfits that seemed more date night than boardroom. Her red dress caught my eye. "You're wearing that for work?" I asked. She gave a faint smile. "There's a party night, Ethan. Don't get jealous." Her tone was playful, teasing even, but her eyes, they didn't meet mine. I laughed it off, forcing myself to feel okay, though deep down, something inside me twisted. That night, after she left, sleep wouldn't come. I stared at our wedding photo on the dresser, thinking about how distant she'd grown. No more goodnight kisses. No more shared laughter. Her voice lacked warmth. Only curt answers and cold shoulders remained. She used to confide in me everything. Now, she hit her phone whenever I entered the room. And then there was him, Casey, her co-worker. She'd mention him casually, calling him just a friend, someone who understood her better. The way she said his name, light and almost musical, haunted me. I didn't want to be the paranoid husband, but when loyalty feels one-sided, peace slips away. The next morning, I called my friend Mark, who worked at the same company. I mentioned Lauren being at the Kansas City conference. He paused, then said, "That's weird. Her name's not on the list." My chest tightened. Trying to sound casual, I said, "Maybe she joined last minute?" He replied, "No, man. Lists were finalized last week." I hung up and sat in silence for a full minute. Then, almost without thinking, I packed a small bag, grabbed my keys, and drove toward Kansas City. It wasn't anger that fueled me. It was that sick, gnawing curiosity that burns in your stomach when you suspect the truth and need to see it with your own eyes. By the time I reached the city, it was past 9. Downtown lights glittered against the glass towers. I parked at the hotel where her company usually stayed and approached the front desk. "Hi, my wife checked in earlier. Lauren Matthews. I want to surprise her." The receptionist typed, then nodded. "Room 412. My heart sank as the elevator climbed. Every beat felt heavier than the last. At her door, I heard faint laughter, a man's voice than hers. The same laugh she used to reserve for me in the early days. I froze. For a moment, I considered leaving, pretending I hadn't heard anything, but my hand moved on its own, knocking 3 times. Silence. Then whispers, hurried footsteps. The door cracked open, revealing Casey, half-buttoned shirt, startled expression. When his eyes met mine, surprise shifted to guilt. Behind him, Lauren's voice trembled. "Ethan." I pushed the door gently and stepped inside. The room smelled of wine and her perfume. The bed was disheveled. Lights dimmed. A half-empty champagne bottle sat on the nightstand. My pulse slowed, not in fury, but in icy realization. I looked at her, hair messy, hands clutching the blanket, and said softly, "So, this is your business trip?" She tried to speak, but no words emerged. Casey muttered, "Look, man, it's not what you think." I turned to him evenly. "I think it's exactly what it looks like." He swallowed hard and stepped back. I reached into my pocket and pulled out her wedding ring. She had taken it off before leaving and placed it carefully on the table beside the glasses. "You forgot this," I said. Tears filled her eyes. "Ethan, please." But I raised my hand, cutting her off. "No need. You've said enough without words." Casey inched toward the door. "You can leave," I said, calm but firm. "But before you go, maybe tell your HR how team bonding really works on company trips. I'll make sure they get the memo." He froze, understanding. Lauren gasped, "Please don't ruin his career." I looked at her. "You ruined mine the moment you chose him over your vows." Her face fell. That was the last image I carried from that room. No shouting, no objects thrown, just silence. The drive home was long, each mile heavier than the last. And yet, somehow I felt lighter, as if I'd finally stopped fighting for something that wasn't real. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I simply accepted that the woman I loved no longer existed in the person left behind in that hotel room. At home, I removed my ring and placed it beside hers on the counter. That was the end of us. 2 weeks later, an unknown number rang. It was Lauren. Her voice trembled. "Ethan, please. Case has been fired. HR found out everything. I lost my job too. I made a mistake. I didn't mean to." I cut her off. "You meant every choice you made. Actions have consequences, Lauren." Then I hung up. That was the last time we spoke. Now, when people say he's just a friend, I smile quietly. Kansas City taught me this. Loyalty doesn't need explanations, but betrayal always reveals itself in silence. Lauren thought she'd found excitement. What she actually discovered was a lesson she'll carry for the rest of her life. If you want, I can also create a YouTube-optimized, click-enticing title for this story in the style of viral channels. It'll hit exactly the drama plus betrayal triggers that grab attention.